I figured I would record myself in a P6 shipwreck until I lost. Hey everyone, Derpy here, back with another Battle Pirates video. This is from a few days ago, but I hope it is somewhat entertaining. Here's me starting out in a P6 shipwreck, and I'm going to do one simple thing that makes me win almost all my shipwreck battles, at least against the average player. And this is not stacking. Why not stacking? Well, because most of the weapons on your ships, on your interceptors, are splash damage based. So if you're stacked up, you're going to take a ton of damage. I'm also using Strike Frigates here, which probably is the best fleet in most scenarios, unless you get into some tricky mechanics with the NPCs in the cloud, which I won't really go into here. What I'm doing here is I'm stacking up and trying to stay at max range of these Nemons here. They're charging at me, and they are pretty tanky, but they are driving too close together, which means damaging just that one hits the second one behind it, and even some damage onto the third one, meaning I'm getting off with quite a bit of damage at this thing. Shipwrecks are an entirely skill-based mechanic for the most part, where you are just trying to beat the other player, and you all have, at least we all recently got, all the interceptors at U3, so you can pick whichever combination you want. You do have a little bit of design considerations with the secondary weapon, because all of these interceptors have a primary weapon, then a secondary one you can change, the primary one you can't. These strike frigates that I'm using have the larger cone as the primary weapon, then the secondary one I have equipped with a missile instead of a cannon. That's 1-0 right now. You're going to see that this person is using the same exact fleet I am, but he's making a crucial mistake, and that's stacking up. If you're stacked, like I said, splash damage will hurt a lot, and he loses his entire fleet in a fraction of a second, where I only lose one of my strike frigates, so that's 2-0. We've got another strike frigate captain here. This guy has a skin, so you think he's pretty good, right? Wrong. He's stacking up here, and this is going to be a 3-0 win as soon as I kill him. I do get close enough to have my secondary missiles have some effect, just to have it be a little bit of a further, not quite as of a close battle. You do instant repair after every win inside the actual targets, so we're going in battle number 4 here, and this guy has a combination of fleets. I'm going to make a mistake here and spend more time targeting this Nemon than I should. I should start hitting those Corsairs right about now, because they do a lot more damage and aren't quite as tanky as the Nemons here. But I'm just maneuvering to keep all my ships firing at the same time, so they're all shooting one target, all shooting one ship, making it weaker and weaker. So that Nemon is still alive there, and I have to twist around a little bit, try and make sure my ships are again shooting at the same time. These strike frigates, you have to keep the enemy directly in front of you at all times. All of these enemy interceptors do have firing arcs, but I'm able to outmaneuver him when with a sliver of health, that is 4-0. And like I said, you do instant repair, and some of these guys were actually repairing and hitting me a second time, which is 2 gold, so this is actually a pretty fun event. This is the same person a second time in a row, and let's see if I can improve a little bit based off my last one. I'm going to stop, wait for him to charge at me, and his Nemon is sitting there. I'm shooting it out. By the time it gets to me, it's about half health. And I'm maneuvering again every time he changes position, so I keep shooting at him. He makes a mistake and maneuvers off to the right, so I can keep all my ships lined up at the same time, all shooting in the same direction, and his Nemon is going to go down there. Now it's time to kill the Corsairs. I start maneuvering ships 1 through 3 individually by using the arrow keys and the number keys to select them, and his Corsairs do quite a bit of damage, but they aren't good enough to compete against 2 versus 3 ships, because his first Nemon was already down, so that's 5-0. Battle number 6 here, we see another person here, and I'm again unstacking, moving to the same position. He's got a skin, so you think he's good, right? Who would spend 20,000-30,000 points on a skin? This guy's going to try and use the island to outmaneuver me, because you can't shoot over it with your missiles, but I'm going to stay approximately unstacked, and again, notice how I'm not moving to one single location, I'm driving the ship separately. Heading off to the left side of the island, see what he's doing here, and I want to beat him sort of like you're jousting, charging straight at him, because if he's stacked, he's all going to get hit at one time. And he's again stacked up here. I'm just off the edge of the island. We start shooting at the same time, the same range, and he runs away from me. You should never run directly away from a strike frigate fleet in open water, because it has long range and it's about as fast as you, so it's going to catch you. Targeting him with all my missiles, and that's win number 6. Battle number 7 here is a bit trickier, because there's a random spawn component in these things. You usually spawn, attackers usually spawn in the bottom right, but this guy happened to spawn right about under me, just below me rather. Now I'm driving here, and I killed one of his ships, and he's got most of mine a little bit damaged, and I'm driving away at full speed. I start splitting up the ships here, because he can only really track 2 of them at once, which means whichever one he doesn't track, I can turn around, start shooting him. And so I'm going to take ship number 1 here, turn around, and start shooting at him. If he turns around and goes for ship 1, I move that away and target the other 2 towards him. I do end up just stacking everything here and trying to just stay like this, because he really isn't doing a whole ton of damage to me with 2 ships. If he had 3 Corsairs against 3 frigates, I'd have to be more worried, but as soon as you're down 1 ship, if you have a glitch and one of your ships spawns on land, you're probably going to lose the battle, at least against a somewhat decent player. Now I have all 3 of my Strike Frigates here stacked up, and he's just staying there sideways, not really even trying to get out of my firing arc. Win number 7. Battle number 8 here, and we can see that this person is using Blood Wings. These things only fire out one side, so they are really tricky at short range. They are fairly high health, but this problem is he's not trying to hide in the cloud or use any sort of thing to mitigate my range. He's just going to pretty much stand there. I stop about max range, wait for him to charge into me, because by the time he's done that, and if he's mostly stacked, he will be down most of his health. Now he's lining up so that his fleet is coming directly at me, and he can just make one simple turn and shoot at me with his full barrage from the right side of his ship, and he's going to do a little bit of damage to me, but he's already at half health by the time he started doing damage, so he's going to lose, and I didn't even have to try to outmaneuver him. I just stopped. If you do have the cannons on your frigates, you can charge into him, but that's going to be win number 8 for me. Battle number 9 here, and we see that this is a person using, again, a combination of 3 Neemans, which are pretty tanky, but they're really just not quite that good, especially in open water. If you do get into the cloud, it can neutralize some advantage. It works exactly like a PvE cloud. You can see I am also using a Sea Serpent's crew here, which is helpful and does help with turn speed primarily, as well as evade for some of the other RNG factors if you're running against an identical matchup, someone else who is perfectly skilled. And you can see that this person is not very good. Neemans have a very slow turn speed. I'm able to just sit here and pelt him at long range. If I need to, I can turn around again to kill him. That's win number 9. Battle number 10 here, and this is going to be the one I lose because I spawned directly on top of him. He spawns directly on top of me, and this was a pure skill matchup. He does have the cannons on his frigates, which are doing a lot of short range damage to me, so I really didn't have a whole ton of chance, and he also has a Sea Serpent's crew, meaning he does have that extra turn speed. I can't outmaneuver him. He's got more short range than me, so he ends up winning here. There are a few things I could have done differently in this battle: split up the ships, driven away in a straight line for a while, and hoped to turn around before he caught me. But in the end, he was better than me, and he won. So there we go. Derpy goes 9 wins, 1 loss in the Interceptor battle in a P6 Shipwreck. Now, I did at one point, in the very beginning, I went 13 losses in a row, and the highest wins I got in a row, I believe, was 31. And I went from 13 losses to 31 wins by 1, using frigates, and 2, not stacking. Hopefully this was entertaining. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have any suggestions for future videos, go ahead and leave a comment below. And as always, this is Derpy, signing out, helping you be a better pirate.